An authentication bypass, an F5 Big IP, a device used by companies to manage and protect their internet traffic. Hackers could run code on it just by sending a request, and because F5 devices sit at the front of so many networks, it became a massive target to exploit. This is CVE-2022-1388, the Big IP authentication bypass. With a CVSS score of 9.8, this was a critical flaw. Big IP is what you call an Application Delivery Controller, or ADC, one of those big network appliances that handles traffic management, SSL offloading, API gateway duties, load balancing, reverse proxying, firewall duties, sometimes even acting as a VPN gateway. It usually sits on the edge of the network, handling what comes in and what goes out. You won't find Big IP on a laptop or a home computer. It's in the hardware sitting in front of a data center, bank's web server, government portals, managing massive volumes of traffic. And because it often sits on the edge, it's public facing, which makes it a prime target. Attackers don't need to phish anyone or break in first. They can simply scan the internet, find exposed Big IP systems, and launch their exploit. An authentication bypass lets an attacker skip the login screen, so they don't need a username or password. And in this instance, the system treated them as admin, giving them full control. It was in the Big IP's management API called iControl-REST. The iControl-REST API is how admins manage Big IP devices remotely. It's supposed to be very secure, requiring proper login and only allowing certain types of requests. Big IP wasn't validating certain HTTP headers. By faking the right headers, an attacker could make the device think a request came from localhost, the machine itself, and the system would treat it like an admin request. Because Big IP didn't correctly validate the connection, an F5 auth token headers, especially formed requests, could be accepted as internal. That let attackers bypass authentication, reach internal management endpoints, and ultimately execute system commands as root. And the attack chain worked like this. Step 1. Find targets. First, attackers look for Big IP systems that are reachable from the internet. Step 2. Send a fake admin message. Then, they send a specially made request that the device mistakes for an internal admin command. Step 3. Skip login and get full control. If the device is vulnerable, that request skips authentication and gives the attacker admin level access. They can run commands as roots. Step 4. Do damage or hide. With admin access, they can steal configuration files and keys, install backdoors, disable login, reroute or intercept traffic, or even take services offline. The exploit spread across the whole web. Script kiddies and opportunistic criminals grabbed public proof of concepts within hours. Botnets and crypto miner operators soon automated the attack to drop payloads at scale. Within days, access brokers and ransomware groups were buying and exploiting these footholds, selling access or cashing it in themselves. There were confirmed nation-state activity too. Black Tech, an APT group believed to be based in Taiwan or China, used the bug against Japanese organizations. Japan's top incident response team reported malware like TS Cookie, Bifrost, and a Linux implant called Hipid, running directly on compromised Big IP devices for long-term espionage. Within just 10 hours of the proof of concept dropping, Palo Alto's Unit 42 logged over 2,500 exploit attempts in the wild. Researchers at TrustWave spotted destructive commands like remove recursive force. On a Unix system, that wipes the entire file system completely. In some cases, attackers used wipes as pure destruction. In others, they deployed them to strengthen ransom demands, destroying backups or proving they'd breached the network. Researchers estimate thousands of Big IP devices were compromised in just a few weeks. Some were used to disrupt critical traffic, others were wiped clean. Many became stepping stones into internal networks. And because much of this happened quietly, the full scale of damage is impossible to measure, but the cost, time, money and trust, easily tens of millions in losses worldwide. F5 released an advisory and a patch on May the 4th, 2022, the same day the bug was disclosed. and on May the 6th, the Horizon 3 attack team developed a proof-of-concept exploit and held publication until May the 9th, to give organisations a short window to patch. Within hours, the proof-of-concept was being used in the wild. They removed the local host trust logic, which had let fake internal requests skip authentication. Then, they started properly validating the HTTP headers attackers were abusing, so forged requests got rejected. And finally, they locked down the vulnerable management endpoint that hackers were using to run commands. Over the next week, F5 rolled out patches for every supported version. For older end-of-life releases, they published mitigation steps, since patching wasn't possible. Meanwhile, security vendors pushed updated firewall rules and threat signatures to help defenders spot and block attacks in the wild. But for thousands of organisations, it was already too late. 2 weeks later, Shodan scans still showed thousands of vulnerable devices online and actively under attack. So what did we learn? You don't always have to hack the service itself. If you can reach the management plane, you can own the whole device. Edge appliances are still too exposed and often misconfigured. No ACLs restricting who can reach the admin interface. No network segmentation to stop lateral movement. And sometimes, no firewall in front to block access. Patching matters. Reducing how much of the system is publicly reachable by attackers matters just as much. This is a bug that let attackers walk straight into some of the most sensitive devices on the network. Root access on an edge appliance. It proved that management planes stay exposed longer than anyone wants to admit, that every patch kicks off an arms race, and that edge vulnerabilities are pure gold for access brokers and ransom crews. And even today, in 2025, Shodan still finds unpatched big IP systems online, because old appliances don't patch themselves, and attackers will still try and find them. That was CVE-2022-1388, the big IP flaw. If you enjoyed this, we do CVE breakdowns every week. Subscribe so you don't miss out, and don't forget to like. I'll see you in the next one.